Organizations invest in employee feedback tools with the intent of making things better. Instead, what they get as a result of how most traditional tools work today is resentment. Through our conversations with hundreds of HR leaders, we've uncovered 4 different layers of resentment that flow through virtually every level of an organization. We call this the resentment loop. The first level of resentment happens at the employee level. And this level of resentment is basically the result of employees not seeing their feedback result in any timely or meaningful changes whatsoever. This then leads to employees feeling disengaged and ultimately leads to much lower rates of participation and less truthful responses in future feedback cycles. The second level of resentment happens at the manager level. And this level of resentment occurs because managers are often not given the right level of access to information, or they're not privy to the real result in a timely fashion in their department or their team. This then leads them to feel like they have a total lack of resources to really make a difference or make things better, despite the responsibility that they're given to do so. Ultimately, managers often feel quite helpless because of this process. The third level of resentment happens within the HR team itself. And this level of resentment occurs because HR is not only tasked with the responsibility of collecting great feedback and making sense of this information to try and drive the business forward, but they often spend months trying to make sense of it. At the end of this process, because the data that they're presenting is not quite as tangible and predictive as the organization wants it to be, they often lose their sense of influence at the leadership table. And this can be very frustrating for HR leaders. The fourth and final level of resentment occurs at the executive level. And this level of resentment, the results from the employee feedback tools and surveys that are being deployed don't necessarily align with the things that really keep the executive team up at night. And those things tend to be key business drivers that have a real cost associated with them. This often causes the executive team to start to devalue people data in and of itself, and ultimately become quite tentative about what they're investing in because they really need to see a tangible ROI. So these 4 levels of resentment do not happen in isolation. They are a true loop or a cycle. The executive team starting to devalue the people data process and remove potentially some investment from that creates a scenario where the HR team has less resources to work with. They're forced to use lighter tools, and ultimately that lands back on the employee who is being asked to give feedback in a system that really isn't going to deliver anything to them. That is the start of the process that creates the resentment in the business overall. So essentially, the resentment loop is the product of virtually everyone at every stage being undermined in some way. If you want to get insights into your culture, contact us today.